As we talk about breathing easier, one thing that you'd mentioned was a peak flow meter. What is a peak flow meter and what difference does it make to asthma management?
Well, that's a good question. A peak flow meter is a tool that we use as part of the asthma action plan. The peak flow meter measures the ability of you to push air out of your lungs. It actually measures the speed that you exhale your air in the very first second. In the asthma action plan, we take our personal best reading from the peak flow meter. The asthma action plan has green, yellow, and red zones for the peak flow meter readings. If, for example, your number was 400 and you are still blowing 80 to 100% of that number, then you're good to go. Green is good to go. The yellow zone is a caution zone. So if for some reason you're between 50 and 80% of your personal best number, then that signals caution. And that means that you're going to want to check with your doctor, check your asthma action plan to see what medicines the doctor may recommend for you. If your peak flow meter is in the red zone, that means you're only blowing 50% of your personal best. So if your personal best was 400 and you're only blowing 200 in the meter, then that means that this is an emergency. You'll want to call your doctor, or your asthma action plan may say what medicines to take and to call 911. Just know that your doctor will help you calculate what your red, yellow, and green zones are for the asthma action plan.
So Nancy, give us the basics of how you use a peak flow meter.
Sure. So every peak flow meter is going to have an indicator that is going to move when you blow into it. It's also going to have an indicator that will show you the red, yellow, and green zones that we spoke about earlier. To perform the peak flow, and remember, we want to get our personal best for the asthma action plan. So you're going to take your reading when you're feeling your best in the morning and at night, the same time each day, for about a week, maybe a few days. All right, so to perform this, we're going to take our deepest breath in, and we're standing up. Big breath in and blow our air out as hard and as fast as we can. So big breath in, just like that. So I emptied all of my air out in a matter of a second or so. So let's look at that again. So we'll move the arrow down, big breath in, lips tight around the mouthpiece. Okay? Remember that this is not the maneuver. Take a deep breath. All right? You want to really blow hard and fast to get your best reading. And if you have to do it more than once, definitely do that.
So Nancy, is it really the peak flow meter is the only tool, or are there other tools that you utilize on the asthma action plan?
Well, the asthma action plan can be based on the personal best of the individual with asthma, but it doesn't have to be. The asthma action plan can also be based on symptoms for an individual or a child that's unable to perform the peak flow meter. So the asthma action plan and any of the steps in the yellow, red, and green zones will be created by the physician based on the child's symptoms and what leads them to having difficulty with their asthma.
So the peak flow meter is a really valuable tool, but it sounds like working with your healthcare provider is an essential piece of this puzzle?
Absolutely.
Okay, so once again, we want to keep your family breathing easier. Thanks for tuning in and stay tuned.